Hey guys, so today you're just with myself truly. Some of the lads are already doing some Olympic lifts with Gav as their goals are starting to change, and Danny and Andy can't make today, so it's basically me on my own. It's going to be today is a push session dominated with a dip at the start. I'm going to try and cue some of the exercises the best I can as we go through, but obviously with no other models in the shoot today, I'm just going to have to do what I can. And then at the end we're still going to run our Q&As. We've got a few questions from you guys this week, so we'll run through them at the end as well as normal, and we'll take it from there. So as you can see today, I'm doing dips. Now I don't have a model to use to show you what I'm talking about. Now you'll see a number of people on social media or in your gym where they dip these varying ranges of motion when we're doing a dip. The depth of a dip does come down a lot to your structure, your anatomy, and the amount of muscle you have based on your joint lengths, your limb lengths. Now you'll see with myself, I'm stopping just short of 90 degrees at the elbow. Any deeper, I start getting a lot of anterior rotation at my shoulder, so I start getting shoulder pain. So with the range of movement that I work, I still get a lot of involvement from the pecs, the delts and the triceps, which is the main idea of this exercise. When I used to be a little bit smaller in regards to muscle size, I used to be able to go full depth. Obviously over time as I put muscle on, I find it a lot harder to hit that depth now without any sort of pain. So I work within that tolerable range, but yeah, I'm still seeing results and it's keeping me injury free. Now, if Danny was here today or Andy, their limb lengths are a lot longer and you'll be able to see the depth they get relatively pain free. So I just wanted to clear that up if you was ever wondering what the difference may be. Talk about programming now. Guys, so with programming, we get a lot of questions in regards to, when you should change your rotation of your training. Some people think they're going to change every 3 or 4 weeks. When the answer is you want to run a program for as long as possible to yield as much of the results as you can. Now, you'll see in our programming today, we have a lot of top sets and back offs, especially on the big movements because of the demand that they put on us. However, in the last 2 weeks, I've started to see my strength start to stall on a few of the lifts. Started to get stuck at the same numbers, not being able to lift as much, not being able to increase the load, maintain the tempo, or increase the reps. So what I've started to do this week and last week is I'm on a few exercises every session. I've added an extra set on the back offs to increase the volume. And what that'll do over time is it's a way of using progressive overload to overcome a plateau. I'm going to keep it simple, so like for today, for example, dips, my first set's normally a 5 to 9 rep range, then a back off of 10 to 12. So today, I'm going to do a top set of 5 to 9 still, but 2 back off sets of 10 to 12. Obviously over the previous weeks I've been gaining strength and size over 2 sets. Now to increase the overload, we're going for 3. and you'll see it on a few exercises today. So if you are training and you're stalling on exercises, you need to look at every inch of your program. You need to be focused on the exercise selection, do the exercises suit you. You know, the tempos you use, the sets, the amount of sets you're doing, the rep ranges. Are you actually pushing hard? Are you eating enough? Are you recovering enough? Once all these are covered and you've been training for say 3 to 6 months on a program, that's probably the best time to start looking at maybe changing the exercise order or rotating your exercises, which is where you move on to as you progress. Now on top of that as well, you always want to make sure the exercises you select are based towards your goal. So if you're after changing physique, you need to be looking at the weak points of your physique and pick the exercises that are going to yield a better outcome and therefore a better visual so you can progress forward. Right, another tip before I start here, you'll see as I'm in the top position, I'm actually into a shrug in the shoulder. I'm not staying upright, keeping my shoulders locked. I'm actually in a shrug position through the lift. You'll find you get way more power from it, but also keep your shoulders nice and healthy through this lift. Next we're doing cable flies. Now there's so many variations you can do on a cable fly, but one thing I always want to make sure is the setup. You want to think about the direction the fibres run of the pec. So some of the best variations you can do, they're either shoulder height, so where you're standing forward, and obviously the line of your pec is lining up with the pulley handle, or my favourite at the moment is where we do it bent over, and I get directly in the line between the cables, and I make sure my chest is on top of that line. And the contraction and the tension you get throughout this exercise is phenomenal. At no point in the lift do you not feel the chest. It's beautiful, and it takes a lot of stress off the shoulder as well. So my two best variations for the cable fly is either stood up or bent over. Now with the stood up variation as well, you can be seated, but as long as the cables are shoulder height. You'll notice with this exercise as well, that tension is key. So you'll see me at the bottom of the range, or the feet contraction, you'll see me squeezing it. So all I'm thinking about is how hard I'm contracting this muscle. Then as I lower backwards, I'm focusing on keeping the tension on the pec, and I'm gonna come up to a point where it's still on the pec. If I go any higher, you'll start to feel it shift into the shoulder. I want to avoid this point in the range of movement. So within this range, what we call the active range, my chest is working at max capacity throughout the whole set. So let's say, for example, you're doing 10 reps. Each rep takes 4 seconds to complete. For 40 seconds, your chest should be working. If you end up going too far into the range, again, this is my opinion, there'll be sections of the lift where your chest isn't working as effective as it could be. So you might be doing a 4-second rep, but only working the chest for 3 seconds. So then your total time under tension for that set now becomes 30 seconds, not 40 seconds. You have 3 sets of them in a program. You train for a year, that's a lot of minutes that you've missed out on in regards to training the chest. And that goes for every muscle as well. I'll be all right here. Right guys, so as you can see today, I'm training on my own. Now, me and the lads usually train together, so you always see how programming can work when you're in a team. Now a lot of you as well will be training on your own, or at some point you're going to train on your own. Just some simple guidelines I like to follow when I'm on my own one. You stick to your numbers as close as possible. Assuming you've tracked your numbers, you should know thereabouts where you are on your own. But like today, for example, what I'm doing is I'm picking the loads that I've been previously been hitting the weeks before. But I'm going to leave 1, maybe 2, depending on my form, reps left in the tank. So I'm not hitting any failures today, because on some of the exercises, if I don't have a spot, obviously you're fucked. So you'll see on a lot of exercises, I'm going to technical failure this week, purely because I'm on my own and I'm getting far better contractions. Because sometimes, you know, even us lot, when you train in a team, the ego starts to come in a little bit and you're going to push a little bit harder, which can be a good thing, but it can also be a detriment when you're just trying to keep pace all the time. So you always want to make sure that the primary goal when it is changing your physique is that you're connecting with the movement, you're connecting with the muscle. Otherwise what will happen, you'll keep pushing them numbers up, trying to chase the weight, chase the reps. And before you know it, you start getting these little niggles or even an injury that puts you out for a week or maybe worse, months. So make sure you're training intelligently, not with your ego. Right guys, so we're moving on to the accessory movements of the day. So we're going to start working on the triceps. We've already blasted the chest and the delts. Now when training the triceps and the end of your training, when you're doing it in this way, I like to train them from varying angles using different sorts of attachments, dumbbells, barbells, you know, body weight or cables. So today you're going to see us use easy bar press down, supersetted with an overhead rope extension. You got to remember the tricep has 3 heads. So if you're always training the triceps in the same movement every single session, 1, you're going to limit your growth. 2, you're going to create imbalances and weaknesses within your structure but also your strength. And 3, you're probably going to start to develop repetitive strain injuries. So when you're designing your programs, you always want to make sure you're varying the equipment you use, the exercises you use, your rep ranges, your angles, your exercise selection. Right guys, so as I'm warming up, doing my pump set to force the blood into the triceps. Now what you'll see is I'm keeping my face behind the cable. What this allows me to do is to keep the mind muscle connection in my triceps. But as soon as I stand over the bar or over the cable and start pressing, I start to recruit my chest and I start to bring in my chest to do the movement, which then takes away the focus of the triceps. So when doing this movement, when doing any cable in this path, so to speak, you want to make sure your triceps, well, I'm talking crap, you want to make sure your face stays behind the cable.